Hi folks, welcome back to Backyard Microscope. We thought we'd take some time today to show you the really cool amoeba. You've probably heard of an amoeba. It's a single-celled organism. It's called primitive by many people, but it's far from primitive. It's very complex. Now it moves so slowly you can't see it move, so we're going to speed it up right about now with time-lapse photography. And now you can see it sped up. And what it does is it throws its protoplasm out in front of itself to make a pseudopodia, a false foot. It's not a real foot because it's a single-celled organism. How can it have feet? But this is how it moves around. It can actually sense around, and it can move towards beneficial areas like food sources that are good for it. It also can recognize cleaner water, and it can move into cleaner water than it's in. And they have the ability to move away from harmful environments. So they can actually recognize an environment that's harmful to them, and they will move away. Now, they move in a very specific type of movement called amoeboid movement. That's something you can look up, Google it, and it's very complex how these things actually build scaffolding inside their pseudopodia as they move along. And here in time lapse, you can see it moving along very quickly. These guys can grow, they can self-repair, and they can reproduce themselves. So they're almost like a machine, and yet they're a single-celled organism. They can engulf complete microorganisms as a food source, and they're very, very complex. So let's not call the amoeba a simple organism. Now you will find them generally in pond water, or if you make a hay infusion like we've taught you, you might find amoeba in a hay infusion. But there are some cases where you could get amoebic dysentery, which is a very dangerous disease. It's actually life-threatening if you ingest one of these and you do not respond to it well. So these are far from a single-celled organism. They can recognize good environments, they can recognize bad environments, and they can move towards and away from these things. Now, this is a different form of microscopy right here called Nomarski, differential interference contrast. The form of microscopy you saw before was phase contrast. So just a couple of different ways to look at these things, but in time lapse they move so fast that they move really across the screen, so I had to run back to the microscope and reposition them so that we'd keep them in the plane of focus. But amazing little single-celled organism called the amoeba. It does just about everything you can do. It can eat food, it can repair itself, it can grow, it can reproduce like we do, and it can move towards beneficial things and away from things that are harmful. So here we see, just in the single-celled organism, all of the capabilities that you have as a multicellular organism.